Welcome.
Thank you. I'm with my colleague, Dr. Dooley. We are a dynamic duo, and we don't do much that isn't together. So we're going to tackle this together, along with many of our colleagues across the university. So what we would like to do this afternoon is give you just a little introduction again on how this fits with our responsibilities, the offices that are in place currently and what they do to work with students along their journey in terms of preparing for the future. We want to specifically talk about the Ready, Set, Work challenge and the ways we've responded to it and what we're ready to do immediately with this year's class. And then we'll talk about Dr. Bradley mentioned earlier this morning about how do we know where students are doing after they leave? And we have a first destination survey that I'll have some initial information to share with you, as well as other resources. So in Student Development Enrollment Services, as you can see, there are 5 key priorities, and one of those is preparing students for the future, career readiness, and providing support. That means at the beginning, it means prior to them coming, and it means throughout their journey.
And for the Division of Teaching and Learning in the College of Undergraduate Studies, wanted to share that we're highlighting the transformative teaching and learning and providing students with an experience, an academic experience that will not only be meaningful, but an academic experience that will allow them to not only qualify, but to also quantify what it is they want to do in their futures, providing them with the high-impact practices, value added. I want to talk explicitly a little bit about the Quality Enhancement Program, which is the plan that we're required to do through SACS accreditation. And through that, we're talking about what's next. So through this project, we want to provide students with a holistic, integrative, interactive experience such that we have intentional learning connected with what's next, being their career or graduate school. And anticipating what will be next, we will then integrate practices from across the campus. As Provost Whitaker mentioned this morning, learning has to occur inside of the classroom, outside of the classroom, and also in our communities. And we're making that happen through the things that we're doing.
So these are the questions that we are going to be asking all new students, all students as they're considering coming to UCF, and throughout the journey, because things do change, as we've talked about, as students move along. Immediately, what do you want to do when you graduate? That idea that graduation is the end and a beginning to the next stage. What do you want to major in? Sometimes the two are not connected, and we don't know that right at the beginning. You might find that out during your journey. If you want to be the best graduate, best prepared for the future, there are activities, high-impact practices, experiences that you need to do while you're here. We need to help students plan those, not only make them aware of the opportunities, but help them develop a plan and a guide. And then it's so important, when do you plan on graduating? Is it whenever? Is it 4 years? We need to have that in everyone's mind as they move through. So, what do? Right now, we have an Office of Career Services, and the office is located right in the building next door to this building, along with our partners in experiential learning. If you haven't been in that building, I would love to take you on a tour. That building was actually supported by CITF funds, which are student paid fees. Career Services, again, takes this holistic approach. You have to start with what's inside. What do you like? What are you interested in? What are your values? Not everybody starts from looking inward. Often we look outward, what's out in the world. Sometimes you can't see what's out in the world. Those positions, those fields are not even established yet. So looking inward, helping with assessing what is important to you is critical, early and throughout your time here. There's so many choices. Career exploration is a key part of what we do, and we have tools on our website that students can do all the time. They can do it before they come. Parents can take a look at this. High impact experience, such as student employment that matches what you're majoring in. Community service, where you can learn about what does this have to do with what you can offer an employer. Is it teamwork? Is it problem solving? Student organizations, we have over 600. Are you a leader? Are you a part of a particular project or activity? And then, of course, internships, planned and specific internships. Workplace and interpersonal skills. It's not just about a competency in an academic field, it's how you work with others. Technical proficiency, you can't go out without knowing how to communicate using the current technology. And most job connections are found through the internet, through LinkedIn, through different ways than what maybe we are used to. Application materials, you can be discounted from a position immediately because of something that you do wrong in your application materials. We work very closely with students to make sure they're ready and prepared. Networking is one of the most important skills that students need to learn now so that they can find those opportunities that may not be listed in some internet or some paper or whatever. It's not who you know, it's how you can talk to people about what you do, and then they open the doors. And then, of course, practice interviewing. The more you practice, the better that you can become. We don't do this alone. Again, this is about partnerships. This is about working with the entire community. Dr. Dooley will talk a little bit more about experiential learning, which is in the College of Undergraduate Studies next, but first year advising, new student orientation and transfer and transition services. These are the areas that I want to concentrate on as we go through the presentation today. This is the early beginning stages of working with students to think about what is the end in mind. Our academic colleges all have, and especially as Dr. Dooley mentioned through our QEP, this is about integrating and thinking about the future in our curriculum, both in the classroom and outside of the classroom, and all of our colleges are looking at ways to enhance this, and most are doing this right now. So what does Career Services do? This is a typical year. These are some stats. Almost 33,000 students have made it into the office or have participated in some of our outreach programs, job fairs, et cetera. On-campus interviews, almost 1,400. It's not the only way that students connect with employers, but it still is a valid way. 3,800 resumes critiqued. What I want to also focus on is a very special program that we have that has been so extremely successful with Lockheed Martin, and that is our College Work Experience program. 531 students were involved last year. These are primarily students from business and engineering. Lockheed provides us funding so that we can find the best students for them and prepare them for these opportunities. We're embedded in their company, and we provide interns that are, 60% of those interns are offered full-time jobs. We have an externship program, so during spring breaks, Christmas holidays, summer times, students can do short-term job shadowing, structured activities to help them see what is that future going to look like. And then you see we have several career expos where we bring employers to not just speak with graduating students, but to speak with students early on in their career so they can learn about those fields of study.
In the next slide, we wanted to show you what we actually offer through our Office of Experiential Learning. And the purpose of that really is to ensure students gain relevant experience to meet their personal, professional, and academic needs. And also, what you'll see is that when President Hitz talks about being America's leading partnership university, we believe our partners to be coeducators because we want students to physically experiment that, in fact, through this partnership, learning occurs in many different environments. We also want to offer the best undergraduate education available in Florida, And so through our labor market, we need students to be able to bridge the gap between theory and practice, that what they learn in the classroom and also in textbooks has application to the real world, but having them experience that prior to entering the workforce. So through 3 avenues: cooperative learning, over a period of multiple terms, internships, over a period of 1 term, and service learning within a specific course where they're actually going into the community to provide a service. Want to also provide some stats. Number of students placed, 4,600. Number of co-ops, 1,500. Estimated dollar value of time and service, $16.6 million. And additional savings to the nonprofit sector, over $4 million. The number of service hours contributed, 174,485 hours. And the number of student presentations delivered at the Service Learning Showcase, 161. And this comes from the 2014 annual report, 14-15 annual report.
So, the governor's Ready, Set, Work challenge. What are we doing about it? You might remember seeing these quotes. These are guiding our efforts. Governor Scott, in quotes, "We should be aiming for 100% job placement within a year of graduation, especially with the university's most popular degrees." Our president, Dr. Hitt, and our chairman, Chairman Marchina, answered, "We are ready, and we are set to provide an outstanding education for our students, which prepares them for the workplace and for a meaningful career." We have taken that challenge and we've moved forward. We have agreed that 100% of our graduates in psychology and nursing will obtain a job or further their education within a year of graduation, and that we will improve job placement rates in key large programs. To that end, we charged a task force in January to take a look at what are we doing now, where are all of our career readiness programs across the university, and how can we improve and enhance ways to inform students about connections between their chosen major, their future career, and what salaries they can expect. We have about 20 representatives from the campus. The task force is chaired by Dr. Chanda Torres, and several members of the committee, the task force, are here in the audience. I want to thank them for their work, their continued work, because it's not done yet. And so here's my update on our commitment immediately. We are including in this year's new student orientation program specific information to help students explore future careers, understand their majors, the requirements for their majors, and how those majors prepare them for those careers, what are salaries that they can expect, and where do these jobs take place. This will happen starting in May in our new student orientation programs. All first-time college students, particularly our students who come here undeclared, this year will complete an online tool called My Plan, which is an interest and values inventory. They'll be expected to do this prior to coming to orientation, so they will have information in hand that we can discuss during our advising sessions, during orientation, and during that first year about the connection between where they're going, where they think they're going, where they should be going, and what does it mean in terms of other decisions that they make along the way. All of our first-year advising and exploration advisors, particularly because of some of the tools that they're now going to have through the predictive analytics project that I spoke about earlier today, will be able to talk more in their sessions and work more with students, not just on planning academically, but also planning for their career. And so we will incorporate career curriculum along with academic planning in all advising sessions. That means investing in training for our academic advisors to have that skill. Our Housing and Residence Life Department, where about 70%, close to 70% of our freshman class reside in the first year, They're developing a new intentional curriculum to support the university's goals and objectives, and so career conversations will be part of what our RAs are trained to do with our new students. And then finally, every new admitted student, now we've admitted the class for this year, but starting for next year's fall 2016 class, all admitted students will receive specific links and information and expectations to go to resources that we have available that will help them learn more about their major, the outlook for the major, and salary information that they can expect. Now, we've also embarked for the last couple of years, 3 years actually, on a first destination survey. Again, a way for us to understand better what our students are doing immediately upon graduation. The first destination survey asks students about their immediate primary plans. Again, this is given to them at the time of graduation. And we have very good return rates on this, something in the 80 to 90% level. Students are asked, are they planning to pursue employment, or are they planning to further their education? And these are some of the areas that we ask about. This is just a few of the areas that we ask. It's not a long survey, but students do respond. We're very fortunate that we have excellent partners who have helped us develop this survey and have helped us to analyze it and make it available to our academic departments, colleges, and support units so that we can dig deep into the data to find out about very particular majors and programs of study and what students are doing. The Office of Academic Program Quality and Academic Affairs, our Career Services Department in SDS, and Alumni Relations have helped us move this survey forward. Here's some beginning results, and I think of these as benchmarks, beginning places for us to improve upon. So for our entire undergraduate population in the last year, the 2014-15 first destination results, 70% of our undergraduate students who graduated in that year indicated that they were seeking to pursue employment after graduation, and 21% were pursuing further education. Now, that does not equal 100%, I know that. And that's because there are individuals and people that I know sitting around this table who are going to take off a year for service, maybe travel. I don't know what that's like to do that taking off part, but some people are able to do it. Some individuals are planning to have families and put their efforts into their homes. So there is that. But just to look at those two bigger portions, of the 70% that are planning employment, 45% at the time that they take the survey have either accepted a position or are currently working. There's a large number that are in the process of investigating and pursuing employment. That's the group that we need to work very closely with. Of the 21% who are pursuing their education, about 36% of that group have already been admitted to a academic program of study, or they're currently already started. And these are the areas that they're pursuing, mostly masters, but also a good percentage in medicine and law, and others going on directly to their doctorate. The top field of study that students are pursuing as they further their education are in the health professions. Now, this is just a snapshot. I could have filled the slide with lots of other data, but I felt it was better to be simple and to whet your appetite for more down the road. Now, graduate students, they also take the survey, and as you can see, about 86% of graduate students who graduated in the last year were pursuing immediate employment, and about 60% of that group have accepted a position or currently working. That's probably also attributed to the fact that many graduate students, particularly in our master's programs, are probably working and going to school at the same time. But that's very good. Whoa. Okay. And of the students who are going on for further education, just a small number, 68% have already, are clear about their path, and this is where they're moving towards. The fields they're continuing in are engineering, technology, and related fields. These are websites that you can go to, and I invite you to do so, to give us feedback on how easy or simple it is for students to navigate and find information that will help them plan for their future and be ready for employment or further education. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Questions or comments for?
I had a couple of questions, if I may.
Sure.
I saw something, forget where I saw it, but LinkedIn announced they had a new partnership with us. Can you tell me a little bit about what that is?
I can tell you a little bit about it. It's a great partnership.
A lot more than I know now, so that's good.
It's a beginning partnership, but I have our Executive Director of Career Services, Lynn Hansen. Lynn, can you go to the mic and tell us a little bit more about the LinkedIn partnership, please?
Absolutely. Good afternoon, everyone. Starting in the fall, we were approached by LinkedIn as one of the schools that they wanted to pilot a new app for your telephone or whatever device you like to use, and it's facing directly towards students. Students for a while have been using LinkedIn for job searches and other networking activities, but this app will be a little bit different and a little bit more applicable for the student situation. So they approached us as one of the 3 pilot schools. Arizona State, San Jose State, and UCF were the 3 selected. They created this new app, and all of you can go to your iPhone app store or your other app store and get the LinkedIn student app, and it's for UCF. This will allow students to see a lot of career information, articles from LinkedIn, articles that we're pushing forward, resources to help them improve their skills, links to employers that are looking for students in certain majors, and based on their profile, they will be given specific information that will be appropriate for them. So we've currently got about 200 students since our February launch that have downloaded the app, and we are just thrilled to death with the partnership.
Thank you.
Well, it will be very helpful for us to see how this survey changes based on now having this LinkedIn app.
Well, anything we can give the students that make it easier for them to find employment helps them a lot, but us as well in our attempt to do a good job here.
It's important when Lynn's mentioned whatever is specific to a particular student. So again, analytics will be used, so a student won't have to sort through everything. They'll be looking towards what they particularly are interested in.
I noticed we had a number of students doing co-op. Are we talking a standard old-style co-op, alternating periods of full-time employment and full-time study?
That's correct. They spend the entire semester in the co-op.
Right.
Yes.
About how many are in that strict co-op?
That's a good question, and I don't have a number for you at this time, but I'll certainly get that information for you.
A lot of the numbers I saw are impressive, but when you think of the total number of graduates we have, what are we up to? Maybe 17, 18,000 now,
Right.
about 18,000 maybe degrees we confer in a given year. A number of 1,500 or 2,000 or 2,500, that's a lot, but it's a very small percentage of the students we've got. And I'm wondering, kind of where we fall on that. And for the future, maybe some discussion about where we think we ought to be. I'm in no way taking away from any credit for what we're doing. I'm sure people are doing a great job, but is this what is the appropriate level of aspiration for us in getting students into these various programs? Finally, I don't want to burden you with it, but I'm the one who asked that this be put at your place today. Last week I was out in Phoenix at a convening. I don't know what the hell that means either, but they brought together university presidents and chancellors from institutions that have partnered with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And it was an interesting meeting. This was the backdrop for one long report, and it's not a typical here's where the jobs are going to be kind of handout. This is more like, what is work likely to look like in years ahead? And if you've got the time and are willing to take it just to read through it, it's about 13 pages or so, actually. I found it to be stimulating. So for what it's worth, if you've got some time to read it, I think you'll be glad you did.
Thank you, Dr. Hitt. Other comments or questions? Mary Beth, is there a way for you to give the board members access to the My Plan portal so that we can see in detail what that looks like?
Yes, definitely.
I think that'll be very helpful in us understanding how we're trying to respond specifically to the governor's desire for specific information to students about majors and employment availability and so on.
I will do that as well as to the survey, the first destination
Okay.
survey, because you can, we actually did a pretty large training with a number of our faculty members and staff members several weeks ago, so that they could do that digging down and sort of find very particular issues that we want to focus on. So I'll make sure we do that.
Thank you.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, please.
Mr. Chairman. There's an amazing amount of work to be done in this area. One of our own grandsons, just a few years ago, was doing pretty well at a very fine Big Ten institution. But his mother came to me and said, can you suggest anything that will help him understand the relationship between the courses he's taking and what he's going to do when he graduates? And, he's a good kid, pretty good student.
But that's a very common problem.
A very common problem. Students don't see the relationship between the courses they're taking or even their major and what they're going to do for a living.
Yeah.
And, if you're an accounting major and you can't figure that out, I wonder. But, if you're a political science major or sociology, psych, I can well understand how a lot of students wouldn't have a handle on that right away.
We might want to come back in a few months to talk about what our academic departments are doing. And I know that we have members from our psychology department here in the audience today. There's a number of things that they have focused on and are doing more on, and I think that would be helpful for you to see how our departments are making that connection.
I would appreciate that, since Dr. Hitz and my name are the ones on that letter to the governor. I want to make sure we continue to follow up on how this plan continues to come together. Thank you very much, both of you, and thank you. Please extend our appreciation to the 20-plus members of the group that is working on this issue with you.
We will do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That brings us